We mentioned earlier this week on the show that Microsoft's immensely successful, to put it lightly. Xbox 360 was ending production. Sam, you wrote an article kind of looking back on its 10-year life, its history of hardware revisions. Is this proof that you have a bit of a soft spot for the Red Ring of Death?
Well, I was a victim of the Red Ring of Death. That soft spot means, the tender hole it carved into my heart when I was a much poorer video game player about 8 years ago when that all went down. I think the Xbox 360 is very interesting in terms of having so many hardware revisions as a result of the Red Ring. The Red Ring really wreaked havoc, and it took Microsoft quite some time to dig themselves out of it. We don't talk about that necessarily anymore. You don't have to check the serial code on the box that you buy for any Microsoft product these days to determine whether or not it's going to blow up in your house. But that was the case because it was their first motherboard, their second motherboard, and even to some extent a little bit of the third motherboard for the system were all affected by this thermal paste issue. It was huge. It cost them so much money. And the fact that Microsoft went to great lengths to remedy that, to make sure that everybody who was affected would not be completely burnt, would be able to get a replacement system, that was huge. That was such a huge move on their part, especially since the Xbox division has never been a moneymaker. It's always been a reputation builder. It's been the thing where people go, well, at least I like this about Microsoft consistently. And the 360 generation really cemented Microsoft's, it was the one division at Microsoft that didn't get bombered. That you really got a solid product. It looked like the team knew what they were doing. They were putting together not only good hardware. I mean, the Xbox 360's architecture was very easy to make games on, which, the PlayStation 3, as I said earlier, was not. So that gave them a good lead. They were very aggressive about building a working online gaming system that made people say, you know what, I am going to pay an annual fee to be connected to online gaming, which if you'd asked me that in 1999, if I would pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to play online video games, I would have said, what? Because, I'm a PC gamer at heart. But they really managed to build out a ton of features, a really great indie games curation. They actually, to some extent, were beating Steam in terms of putting out independent, digitally distributed games, which is saying something because Steam is currently the titan of that. But Xbox Live Arcade was so huge about that. So it is interesting to see the 360's hardware run end, also because it's not really dead. Phil Spencer, the chief of Xbox, made a really big deal at the end of February at a press event where he said he doesn't want people to have to give up their libraries. It's the end of a gaming generation has always been dump your old cartridges and your old games and buy the whole new stuff. It was the kind of thing that I remember drove my mom nuts when I reached out begging for a Super Nintendo. You already have a Nintendo, Sam. No, Mom, I need the super one with the new games, etc. And now we're in an era where we sort of expect our software to come with us when we get new devices. When we get a new iPhone, a new Android phone, a new PC, we don't have to dump all of our software, all of the stuff that we've really grown attached to. And Xbox, with backwards compatibility and with some other strides I think they're going to be making for the Xbox line, are really interested in keeping you for life and saying, if you bought Super Meat Boy in the late 2000s, you should be able to continue playing that in 2022. That should continue to work. There's no reason not to. It's a simple piece of code that you love a lot, and we're going to keep you hooked as a gamer with services. If gaming is going to be this sort of subscription-based, device agnostic kind of thing going forward, and Microsoft really has a chance right now to affirm itself as a kind of platform that you're going to stick with for a long time. So the 360 was the beginning of Microsoft getting some really big things right about home entertainment and about home device ownership. So I'm really hoping that their best lessons continue going forward throughout my gaming life.
And Microsoft didn't include a ring on the one to be infected by redness, right?
No, they
learned that lesson at least. They kept the ring off there entirely.
No, they kept the ring off. I'm sure that there's some sort of terrifying light flash that'll happen whenever it starts melting down. But right. I have mine set up in such a way that it has all of the cool air going around it just in case.
Excellent.